Hello students, today we'll study about our chapter number 15, our environment. So let us start. The term environment means the sum total of all the external factors, substances in the living beings and the conditions that surround an environment and influence the same or the environment without becoming its parts. It consists of basically two components, the living and the non-living components. Each of these components have the further subcomponents which are interconnected and interdependent on each other. So, in this chapter we are going to study the effect of various activities, human activities or pollution on our environment. So, the effect of adding waste to our environment, the human activities leads to or produce a large amount of waste material that is thrown away into our environment, and these waste they leads to pollution. They cause the pollution of air pollution, water and soil pollution. The waste material that are produced that consist of two type of waste. Basically it is biodegradable or non-biodegradable waste. The biodegradable waste are the waste which are decomposed by into harmless substances by the microorganisms, like your the type of waste is vegetables, fruits, pulses, cereals, cotton, leather or animal dung. These are the biodegradable substances, and the non-biodegradable waste are those waste which are not decomposed by microorganisms. It includes polybags, plastic, glass, metals, synthetic rubber, insecticides and pesticides. Now we have the components of ecosystem. There are two components that are living and non-living. So an ecosystem consists of all the living organisms residing in an area along with the non-living components. The interaction between the living and the non-living components basically constitute an ecosystem. So we have two different kind of ecosystem, that is natural ecosystem like the forest, desert, grassland, mountains, ponds, rivers and lakes. The artificial ecosystem includes your garden, aquarium, parks, zoological zoos and crop fields. These all are made up by man, so they constitute the artificial ecosystem. Now talking about the components, the biotic components are the living components that includes plants, animals and microorganisms, and the producers are the green plants that are the part of this biotic component. The consumers are the organisms that cannot make their food, they depend on plants for their food. These are basically of different type. They include the primary consumer, the secondary, the tertiary and the omnivores. And the next one we have the decomposers. These are the microorganisms which decompose dead organic matter. They decompose complex organic substances into the simpler or inorganic substance, which are again used up by the plants. The abiotic components are the non-living components like air, water, soil, minerals, sunlight, temperature and wind. A food chain is a flow of food, energy between from one organism or from one trophic level to another trophic level to the next trophic level and so on. So it starts from the producers, that is the plants, which are eaten up by the consumers or the carnivores. In a food chain, an organism gets the food from one group of organisms. Here you have given some certain examples that the grass, these are the producers. They are eaten up by the deer, that is a primary consumer, and the deer is eaten up by the lion, that is a secondary consumer. The grass is eaten up by the insect, and insects are eaten up by the frog, and frog is eaten up by the snake. Or we may consider it like grass is eaten up by moth, that is a primary consumer. Moth is eaten up by frog, frog is eaten up by snake, and snake is eaten up by the tertiary consumer, that is hawk. Now look at this picture. Here we have the quaternary consumer. Starting with the primary consumer are plants in a terrestrial ecosystem and phytoplankton in a marine ecosystem. Phytoplankton are the minute plants which are eaten up by the zooplankton, the minute insects, and they are eaten up by the carnivores, that are the fishes, small fish, then by the large carnivore, then a large fish, then it is eaten up by a top carnivore. Similarly, in a terrestrial ecosystem, the plants are eaten up by the herbivore is eaten up by carnivore is eaten up by a secondary consumer, and then it is eaten up by a top consumer, that may be eagle or a lion or a tiger. Moving to the next, that here we have again a sample of the food chains that we have the grassland biome, the pond, and the ocean. In a grassland biome, the grasses, alga in pond, and phytoplankton in the ocean. They are eaten up by the grasshopper, mosquito, the zooplankton. Then, in case of grassland, it is eaten up by rat. So, in this way, you are able to understand it, this food chain. And this food chain, basically, there is a unidirectional flow of energy. There's a stepwise unidirectional flow of energy. There is no any backflow of energy. So here food chain is termed as a unidirectional. It is termed as a unidirectional flow of energy. Unidirectional flow of food or energy between the various trophic levels. Now come to the food web. The food web is a group of several interconnected food chains. So in a food web, an organism gets food from more than one group of organisms. So it is a network, interconnected network of a food chain, interconnected network of various food chains. What do I mean by the trophic level? Each step, every step or every level in a food chain where there's a transfer of energy or the food takes place between the organism, that is termed as a is from one step to another step. The first step is known as a trophic level. The second is a second trophic level, and that is of primary consumer. The third is of a secondary consumer. The fourth trophic level is of the top carnivore. Since the transfer of food energy decreases at every trophic level, so the number of the levels are limited and doesn't exceed 4 or 5. Here we have a pyramid to show the various trophic levels. The first trophic level is of producers, that may be green plants or phytoplankton. The primary consumer, they are at the second level, and the secondary consumer are at third level. Tertiary consumer is a fourth trophic level. So it is shown to you in the form of a ecological pyramid. Here we have the plants that are eaten up by herbivore, and on the other side, on the left hand side, you are able to see that we have the plants that are photosynthetic plants, and they utilize the sunlight, so there is a loss of energy at each trophic level. The complete energy is not utilized by the second and the third or the fourth trophic level. The successive trophic levels, there is a loss of energy. The green plants absorb about 1% of the solar energy falling on the leaves and store it in the form of food used by the process of photosynthesis. During the transfer of food energy from one trophic level to the next, the 90% of the energy is lost to environment and only 10% is transferred to the next trophic level. So there is a decrease in the amount of energy transferred to every trophic level by 10%. This is known as a 10% energy law. Now we have here you are able to see the example that how the 10% energy law is followed here. Suppose the producers have 1000 units of energy, so 90% will be lost, and the energy that is transferred to the next trophic level, that is the grasshopper or the insects, is 100 units of energy only. Now out of this 100, the 90% of the energy is lost here, and the frog gets only 10 units of energy. And to the topmost level, that is an eagle or a hawk, that will get, or a bird, that will get the 1 unit of energy out of the 1000 units of energy. Similarly, if the plants have 1000 kilojoules, then the primary consumer will get 100 kilojoules, the secondary consumer will get 10 kilojoules, and the tertiary consumer will get 1 kilojoules of energy. What do we mean by the term biological magnification? Now, here we have certain environmental problems. The very first is a biomagnification. Basically, it is a accumulation of the harmful chemicals or insecticides and the pesticides which are used to protect the crops from insects. As these are absorbed by the plant, so they enter the food chain, and these these chemicals are non biodegradable, and they starts get accumulated at each trophic level, and at the last trophic level their concentration increases. So in this way, we have the accumulation of a toxic substance or a chemical at the highest trophic level, which leads to the death. The increased concentration of this harmful chemical in the bodies of the organism at the higher trophic level is called biological magnification. Clear? If I will take an example here, to that will help you to understand the concept. Suppose we have the spray of DDT in a ocean, and this DDT is the insects are eaten up. The insects are there that will utilize this, and they are eaten up by the small fish. So the concentration increases in the insect. Suppose it is 0.01, okay, 0.01 molar, and then it is 0.1, then it increases to 1, then it increases to 100. Is in this way we have the concentration increases at each trophic level. The small fish is eaten up by the large fish. So in this way the top carnivore will have the largest, they'll have the huge concentration of this chemical. Another, we have the depletion of ozone layer in the atmosphere. uh, as you know that the ozone, the molecule O3 is formed by the when the unimolecular when the nascent oxygen combines with the O2 molecule, then O3 is formed. So ozone molecule contains 3 oxygen atoms at high level in the atmosphere. The ultraviolet radiation splits this oxygen molecule to release a nascent oxygen, and it is highly poisonous. The ozone is highly poisonous. Now O2, when this splits to form two nascent oxygen atoms, then this nascent oxygen, one of the nascent oxygen combines with O2, resulting in the formation of ozone. The ozone layer basically is the higher layer that is present in the stratosphere region, and it protects the earth from the harmful ultraviolet radiations. The UV radiation that comes to our earth, they cause the skin problems in case of humans, and also cause damage to other living organisms. Now these ozone, the chlorofluorocarbons, they also degrade the ozone layer. The ozone layer is getting degraded by the various ozone depleting substances like CFCs, and which are released from refrigerator and fire extinguishers, ACs, air conditioners. So the use of CSCs is now being reduced to protect the ozone layer. Now here you are able to see that here we have the troposphere is an ozone layer is there, then stratosphere is there. So this ozone layer basically protects us from this harmful ultraviolet radiations, UV radiations. Now here you are able to see that in Antarctica there is a ozone hole, that is thus pinkish in color you are able to see. The managing the garbage we produce, the household waste that is termed as a garbage. So the garbage can be biodegradable or non-biodegradable. The garbage that causes pollution of air, water, and soil it should be properly disposed of. There are some methods of garbage disposal that are, we can dispose our garbage by landfilling, by recycling, and by the production of biogas and manure, and by the preparation of compost, incineration, that we can put our garbage in a at or we can heat it at a very high temperature in a furnace that will decompose the garbage, and sewage treatment. Here you are able to see that how sewage treatment is helpful to purify the water, to treat the waste water. So in this way you are able to manage your waste.